Welcome to the Rad Conversations podcast.
Welcome back to another episode of Rad Conversations. Okay, so every time I have a psychic medium on the show, I have technical issues, and today's episode is no different. Multiple times throughout the interview, the camera jumps for no obvious reasons, and it's never done that before in the year I've been doing the show. So please let me know in the comments what you think is going on. But this week we have a fun conversation with Amanda Soto. She's a psychic medium whose website's amandasotomedium.com. It's the same for her socials. Amanda says during some of her readings, she is connected with Prince. Yes, that Prince. And she says she's even encountered the energy of Jesus, but not in the way religion describes. It's kind of crazy I led with Prince over Jesus, but hey, all that and more coming up on this episode of Rad Conversations. And remember, if you enjoy the show, please like, subscribe, and share. All right, let's dive in. So Amanda, what are some of the readings that have stuck with you over the years?
Well, one of the craziest, coolest, I could stop reading and I would still be on a high from. I was on TikTok Live and I had pulled up this gentleman. He was a musician. He was a famous musician, but everybody's famous musician, right? I didn't think anything of it, And so I gave the reading to the girl. And, TikTok, you're on your phone. You can barely see who you're even talking to. And so then, I thought nothing of it. And then the next time I got back on TikTok, like the regulars, they were like, did you know that you had Prince? And I was like, what?
Wow.
No, I don't believe it. There's no way. So I went to the recording and thankfully they saved the comments because I didn't even know who that was, who I read. And I found the comments and I messaged her and I was like, hey, I brought a gentleman through for you the other night on TikTok, but was that Prince? And she said, yes, she had talked to Prince. So she knew him and she was going to be one of his dancers, but then he ended up passing away. And I was just in shock,
Wow.
I couldn't believe it.
I mean, what was the energy you got from Prince?
He's funny. He is so funny and really sweet. And just kind of like I had this crazy life and I did these crazy things. It's like I lived it to the fullest, and just like really making connections with people. I feel like he made really deep connections with people and, he's just fun. And he's come in to tease me because he's come in a couple more times in a reading with her and another reading. And he brought through her grandfather who had just passed. And then he sends me these crazy little things. He just pops up at them at the craziest times. And I love it. So he's funny.
That's funny you say that because, you hear stories about Prince and he's always pulling these jokes on people or doing these crazy things at odd hours. And there was a story, too, that somebody said that he called all his
Maybe
folks,
that's him.
Prince is a trickster. We've had technical difficulties this whole time, which I've never had like this, where the cameras just start shaking for no reason. And so there's a story out there. He called all his bandmates at like 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. in the morning and said, hey, we got to get to the studio. We got to record this song in my head. And everybody's like, Prince, can't we do it at like 8 a.m. like normal people? He's like, no. We got to get this song out right now or Michael Jackson will get this song out. And, but I mean, you hear from other people like a story or a song or that it's out there in the ether. And if you don't put it out, the universe is going to get that song out or that message out one way or another. Either it's going to be through you or somebody else. So you hear that story about Prince. You're like, man, has he lost songs to other artists because he just didn't write them down in time or produce them in time? So shake the camera if that's yes, Prince. Okay. I guess not this time.
Did you hear that from the telepathy tapes? Because they did an episode about that.
I think I saw it on I've heard the story a couple times, so it could have been on that. So, okay, yeah. That's on there also?
There's an episode about how, like, the universe likes to create, if, like, they showed somebody with music and with a story, and they never got the story out or the song out, and somebody else had the exact same story or the exact same song, so...
Okay, so since you connected with Prince, was his energy, because he was such an icon, was his energy any different than the average person you've connected with?
No.
Same amount of energy, same energy flow and stuff. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, we're all
interesting.
just souls, right? I mean, I've even had an encounter with Jesus, and I don't believe in Jesus, right? In the traditional Jesus that we think of in this society. So it took me a couple of times to really say, oh, okay, that's it. But the energy, it felt really high vibe, a little higher than others, but it's still kind of the same, right? We're all just kind of
Really?
the
It
same
wasn't
connect.
it wasn't any it was roughly the same energy level.
I mean, it was a little higher than normal. But it was, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, he was just a dude, highly evolved, soul, but when he was here on earth, I mean, he was like very humble and not, wasn't like he was dressed up a lot. He wouldn't have that personality, right?
Well,
Um,
it always seems too like his message was always like, whatever I can do, you guys can do. So he wasn't
mhm,
trying to put himself out there like above and beyond everybody. He
yeah.
was like, hey, anything I can do, you guys can do too. That just kind of seems like his message. But can I ask you, what's your version of that you feel Jesus is?
Uh, I just feel like he is a highly evolved soul, and there's many of them out there. I don't know. I mean, when I don't really equate him to, the religion that he's tied to. He's in a highly evolved soul. He's here to help, just like there's also highly evolved souls. And I've heard that like angels or others, like they were never in the human form, so they're like on a different level. But Jesus, I'm still kind of working that out because I've met him in several different ways. Like I did a spirit guide, a meditation, and he came through. And I dismissed it because I thought, well, that's just my ego mind bringing him in, right? And then I did a past life regression, and he came through there too. And again, just dismissing it. And then in a reading I had in one of my classes, it was him and the teacher's, my friend's grandfather. And the things that I was bringing in between the both of them, and the history between her grandfather and the way she had known that he was connected. It's a long story, but so that was like proof that I was like, okay, this is okay. I got it now. Like it's real. So like I am like I'm a skeptic, like I need constant proof, and for a while I needed little tingles on my head to know that spirit was around, and I don't need that anymore, but
Do you feel like
it's a journey.
my last guest I had on, she
Hmm.
felt when she did a past life regression, she was Mary Magdalene in a life, but she also thought a bunch of people were Mary Magdalene. Do you think a bunch of souls are attached to Jesus? Do you ever get that feeling?
I don't know. I haven't gotten that feeling. No. But,
And
I think we all have our own interpretations, right?
yeah, no, for sure. And some people feel like Jesus wasn't a person, but a collective idea back then. And
Mm,
it's a bunch of souls together, which is an interesting thought. Hopefully, we'll all find out for sure at one point in time. But
yeah. And I mean, like a lot of these like spirit guides, like I want to know who my spirit guide is or like Jesus, what do they look like or whatever. I mean, he comes in a form that I can recognize, but who knows if it's not just a soul, like a highly evolved soul that's just taking a form just so that we can have that reference point, right? Because
yeah,
spirit guides usually don't have a name, or they don't have a shape or a body or a animal or anything like that. And then some people say spirit guides are your higher self. And so, and I don't really have like, I don't have a particular spirit guide that I call on or that I know or that I connect with. So I don't know. I mean, I just feel I kind of lean towards the spirit guides may just be our higher self, but I don't know.
I talk to my higher self,
Hmm.
guardian angel, and I have never said his name. I'll just say it's his name. I've never said his name out loud, even to my wife, because
Hmm.
I want somebody to go, hey, his name is you given. I mean, and once again, it's a name's a name, and it's just so you recognize or you can talk to whoever you want to talk to
Yeah.
and have that connection. But I've talked to other people, and they're like, they don't care about names. They'll go by whatever you call them because it doesn't matter to them. When you do your mediumship,
Hmm.
do you get different souls that come to you all the time, or do you get the same rotation or the same soul? I mean, the same spirit that comes and talks to you?
Like if I get somebody who comes again
Yeah,
or,
like Well, I mean, just when people just have questions about the universe or, was Atlantis real or something, I don't know if you get those questions or not, but like, no, you don't get those questions. It's mostly personal questions like,
Yeah.
What are some of the top 10 questions you get kind of repeatedly?
Yeah. I don't get a lot of questions in readings because, their loved ones are coming through. And usually by the end of the reading, I'm like, do you have any questions? And they're like, no, you answered all of them. And I was like, okay, well, I was like, your loved one answered all of them for you. I have had some crazy experiences where it's not somebody that's tied to them that has come through. So potentially the spirit guide or their higher self, past lives have come through, and aliens have come through.
Nice.
And, it was only confirmed, by the person in front of me because they had a connection with the alien already and they knew it. And I was just, and it would not come from me because I believe aliens are there, but I'm not, I don't know. It's not like I'm pulling on them in a reading, right? So if they come in, it's a really surprise. And I always say it to the people. I know it sounds kind of hokey, some people can't get to the alien part yet, but
when the aliens come in, can you tell what type of alien they are?
no.
I'm all in on aliens. I think they
know.
walk among us right now and stuff.
I know. I can't. And I just I think my soul is just like, yeah, I'm not ready for that yet. And so I've just kind of like not been introduced, but I have had spirits say just recently, I think it was like last week when I did a reading, they were like, the spirit told them, yes, aliens are real. And she was like, we used to talk about that all the time when we were growing up and we would watch, what's the alien show? It starts with an O. I can't remember, but and so she was like, her brother or somebody, I can't remember who it was. I think it was her brother, was like, yeah, they are real.
Yeah. Well, I have a distant aunt.
That's a yes for aliens.
Yeah, that's so crazy, folks. I'm not even going to edit that out because it should not be moving. I don't understand why it's jiggling, but I don't know what that threw me off about aliens. Yeah, I was told by a previous guest that I was connected to Pleiadians and the Orion constellation and stuff like that. Yeah, they say that. I mean, have you heard the rumors that 2026, 2027, there will be disclosure and aliens are coming? Does that resonate at all with you? I mean, I know you're not all there yet, but.
I mean, well, Obama just said aliens were real. And I know they're real because I watched Contact a long time ago and it would be like, it's an awful waste of space if it was just us. And I believe they're out there. I said the other day that I think a lot of us, especially like with the telepathy tapes, and a lot of us who do this mediumship and psychic, and a lot of people are learning. And I really feel like it's because when the aliens come, that may be one of the only ways we can communicate with them, And so I feel like, yes, they're real. And they're out there and they probably are also here, but I don't know if they're going to come anytime soon. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe we're going to need them.
Yeah. I mean, that's what all the a lot of the psychics on the TikTok say that at the end of 2026, 27, that, and then crazy. It really throws me off. It should not be doing that.
I love it.
That possibly there'll be a massive spaceship above the ocean and will hover there.
Yes. Yeah.
So it will be non-threatening, but we'll be fully aware of it. I've had my wife's aunt. She said she was walking on the Riverwalk a couple of years ago with her husband, and they're just walking down the Riverwalk, and she just walked past two people, and she's like, they were not real. I don't know what they were, but they were not human. And she's like, I wasn't planning to have that revelation walking down the Riverwalk, but there they were. Yeah. And then some people say that with all the Epstein files, that just to distract us more, that they're going to announce that the aliens are real. I mean, Obama said it, and interesting times we're living in.
I know. I mean, it's fascinating.
Ever watch Bashar? What do you think about Bashar?
Oh, I love him. Yeah, I watch him all the time. I love Bashar. He's wonderful. And I've seen some other folks channel and like do some of the trance and things like that. And that's all fascinating. I feel like sometimes when I'm doing a reading, there'll be sometimes where I just keep talking and I feel like those are just they're just coming through me at that point. So it's really cool. I love it.
I was doing a reading on a different podcast. We were talking about psychics and mediums. And I was just looking for somebody. I was like, I got to do research. It's been a couple of years. So I was like, oh, this is a good excuse to go see another psychic or a medium. But I went to this guy's house and he's talking to me and he's like, you have a dark entity attached to you. He's like, watch this. He had a small candle. He lit it and he's like, hey, spirit. And then it's just kind of flickering. And then he acknowledged the spirit and then the flame like tripled in size when he started acknowledging the spirit. But he's like, you need to go home to your house and go buy a vanilla candle and light.
Well, at least he didn't ask you for $500 to get rid of that entity, because that is a scam, and I don't like when people are, say that, and I think it's one of my FAQ questions, it's like, I'm not going to tell you have a spirit attached to you because that's just not the way it works. I mean, if you do, it's a loving spirit that, I mean, so it's just, I don't know. That stuff, I just don't, it doesn't resonate with me. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, do you believe in a hell?
I don't know.
I don't believe either. So, I mean, it's when people like kind of put that out there, like, you got to behave yourself, otherwise you're going to hell. I'm like, there is no hell. Like,
there is no hell. With all the readings I've done, those who have committed horrible things and those who have taken their own lives, they're all in the same place. And they're, people say living here on earth is hell.
Yeah. Thanks for watching the show today, folks. And if you enjoyed it, please like, comment, and share. And like always, stay rad.